Okay, I'm Reuben Moore, and I grew up in Greensboro, and then went off and spent several years living in Massachusetts, and then in New York, and then moved back down here, now living in Durham with my wife just in January. So today I'm going to show you my series of wall-mounted papier-mâché sculptures. Most of them, like this one, are made up of two or more separate shapes combined, and they're all constructed out of wood and layers of cardboard, papier-mâché, and paint. Many of them are descended from door or window-like shapes, which have been cropping up in my paintings for years. And I kind of noticed that, and first that led to a series of paintings, exploring that further, but I eventually realized I needed to push the spatial presence more. Making the shapes of separate papier-mâché units gives them a texture and a thickness that firmly state their physicality, yet hint at the existence of a space within. As you can see, they draw upon the reductive language of geometric abstraction and minimalism, but as you look at them, you realize that rather than being hard-edged, smooth, and industrial, they're rounded off, modulated, imperfect forms. Imperfect, not in. A lot of pieces use the door shape, and then some use more of a window-like shape like this. Using those simplified abstracted shapes is intentional. My goal is to create imagery that can allude to a lot of different symbols like TV screens, mirrors, windows on your computer, a hall that's going somewhere, or something coming towards you. Could represent a painting or a framed picture. Like I mentioned before, these are imperfect forms. I've always had the instinct to balance awkwardness and elegance in my work, and that creates a kind of tension, basically, that I find very compelling. I like putting shapes together in a way that seems a bit naive or incorrect. The idea behind this picture is that it's a box seen in one-point perspective, but you can just as easily flip it in your brain and read it as the gray being the far wall of the room, for example, or two completely flat graphic shapes, or one rectangle on top of another one. I'm really fascinated by the skewed perspective, wonky architectural elements, and confusing foreground-background relationships in proto-Renaissance paintings. I'm a big Giotto fan, so there's a lot of influence from that stuff, as well as comic books and other iconic pop cultural imagery. There's also just the humorous side, to me at least, of making a sculpture that's attempting to replicate two-dimensional suggestions of depth. Since I'm really a painter who's making sculpture, I can't help but include those references. This piece, last piece, being one of the more absurd examples. This one's kind of a Matisse homage. Thinking about his paintings where you've got an interior scene, but you're looking directly out a window at a landscape. As you can imagine, that interior-exterior dynamic is a particular interest of mine. This piece is the biggest finished work in this series, although I've got several in progress now that are bigger. This is a good example of how chance, coincidence, and plain human error have a big impact in my work. The piece on the right, the pinkish one there, was supposed to be the same angle as the others, but when I went to cut the piece of wood for it, I forgot what degree I was cutting at, and then I put it with it, and I realized that was exactly what it needed. Here's another kind of glimpse of a little thing screwing around with a one-point perspective, and sort of a intentionally bad trompe-l'oeil effect. This one brings in the suggestion of motion. It's inspired in equal parts by proto-Renaissance biblical scenes and action lines from comic books and video games. It's also referencing isometric projection, which I'll explain later if anybody cares. I haven't talked much about color, but color is, of course, a very important component of these sculptures. But most of these, I go through a bit of trial and error process of discovering the color, basically trying different things again and again until it not only looks right, feels right, and has some kind of emotional impact for me. And this is a brand new piece that I'm really excited about because it's taking the work in a direction I've been trying to go for a while. It's made of these four pieces that have, the ends are angled, and it goes in a corner of a room probably about that high would be the bottom piece, and on the right is what you would see if you're in the corner looking straight up at it.